Hi, and thanks for tuning in to the CBA Podcast, a place where we chat about our own recent achievements in the area of electronics, software and mechanical engineering, and more likely than not, give excuses for not having done anything at all. This time I'll be talking about my project for the Maker Faire Dortmund, an ultraviolet LED project, an interactive tape adventure game, a retro challenge, and the Outline NX demo parties in the Netherlands. Once again a solo episode, no big deal. Piotr's more than welcome, he's very busy now, so we'll see how it goes in 2018. As long as we have 0 or more listeners, I'll probably continue this for some time, so we registered this podcast successfully with iTunes, so it's up there now, it's on iTunes and Stitcher, and I can see a slight increase in listeners, a number of listeners, so if you are that listener, thank you very much. Your input is appreciated, so if you want to leave a comment on iTunes or on the podcast website, or give a rating, please be honest, but you're more than welcome. Any feedback is welcome. So I'm going to talk a little bit this episode about what I did the last couple of days and about some upcoming events. It's going to be a short episode, but let's go. So, upcoming event is the Maker Faire Dortmund. That's 10 and 11 March in 2018, and my project for that will be once again that 1-bit transistor processor that I made and already showed at previous Maker Fairs. For this Maker Faire in Dortmund I would like to make some improvements, and it's good that it exists, Maker Faire, so this means I will effectively have to do something before March, so stuff will actually get done, so that's good. What I did for this last couple of weeks, was redesign a digital I/O board, one of the digital plug-in boards, namely the 8-bit latch-board, which contains 8 1-bit latches, a gated D-latch with a clear input. So what I did compared to the previous or existing board was make it a bit smaller, a bit shorter, choose a different kind of transistor, so that will be a SOD416 instead of a SOD23, so a bit smaller. Group components more logically, so you can see which components contribute to which latch, and also add LEDs to the latch inputs and outputs at appropriate places, and some descriptive text on the silk screen, so you can actually see what goes into a latch and what comes out and how it works. So you can see the bits moving around. So it has the same header pinout as original. In other words, this board will be compatible with the existing one, and that's the whole idea. There's a lot more work to be done for this processor thing, namely the other digital I/O boards have to be redesigned as well. There are some flaws, and I made some changes, so that means I think 3 or 4 boards have to be redesigned, and the baseboard has to be redesigned, so there's more intelligence on the baseboard now. There's a processor and switch mode regulator probably. Yeah, so that means quite a lot of software, but it should be standalone. It should be nicer than the previous one. So that's that. Lots of stuff to be done, but that's what I did. Then a completely different thing is I'm toying a little bit with an idea to make a light project, an LED light project, something just for fun, just to look at. So pretty lights. So, and what I would like to do is take a UV LED, so that's barely UV, namely 405 nanometers, that's blue-purple, looks blue-purple, obviously, and take that, put a non-transparent sheet in front of the LED with a hole in it, of some shape, let's say square hole, then approximately 5 centimeters from the LED plus the sheet with a hole in it, place a transparent acrylic sheet, coated with a UV marker material, so some sort of coating that lights up when UV light hits it. And what you'll see, because of the cutout in the non-transparent material, is when the LED goes on, you will see a spot in the shape of the cutout hole on the transparent acrylic sheet. So effectively you would have pixels 5 centimeters from the LED, that you can turn on and off. And if you have a whole array or a whole matrix of these pixels, you can make any shape you want, circles or squares or whatever. So you can make a nice effect if you have a whole array of these pixels. Also, a little bit, not experimenting, but drawing how to make an enclosure with this stuff inside, because it's a little bit difficult. It involves some design work, some math to see how big everything should be, how to make angles and so on. So that's not finished at all. I was experimenting a little bit with how far from the non-transparent sheet with a hole in it you can stick the transparent sheet of acrylic to still see light, and the angle of the light, so how big you can make the hole to still have clearly defined edges of the light spot, and so on. So that's more playing than serious work, but at some point it may be finished sometime. Completely different thing again was an interactive cassette tape adventure. Now, some time ago I started listening to the Eaten by a Group podcast, which is about Infocom games. Now, I was never into Infocom, but I liked the idea of an adventure game. So, Infocom games playing them, I tried playing a few, but they don't appeal to me very much, because I'm stuck in the parser, and I'm struggling to work in a framework that I didn't make and don't particularly like. From that, I started looking at Choose Your Own Adventure books, which is a series of, it's a mechanism where you have a book, you can start reading it, and depending on the choices you make in the book, you turn to different pages. So you don't read the book in a linear way, you jump around in the book, as indicated by, the text you're reading. So that's quite nice. It's very simplistic, very nice, and from that, I started thinking about making my own adventure game. So what I came up with was a game implemented in hardware and software, sitting inside one of these cassette tape retrofit things, which is a device that looks like a tape, a compact cassette tape. You can stick it in a tape player in a car, for example, cassette tape player. Out of that device comes a wire, and you can stick the wire in your phone. So effectively you can hear on your car amplifier with your old tape player, you can hear the stuff coming out of your phone, the sound. So I want to remove the wire, open up the tape, add a small PCB with a battery-fed PCB with some sort of amplifier on it, and also a way to detect the rotation of the so-called tape. So if it's being played or fast-forwarded or rewound, add a serial flash. So if you stick this so-called tape in your cassette player and start play, it will notice that it's being played, turn on, and start telling you the game context. And you can stop the tape and rewind it, so-called rewind it, or fast forward it and play it again, and then you can make choices depending on rewind and forward and play. Now there's a very limited input mechanism, so it's a bit of a challenge to come up with a game fitting that. But that's nice to think about it. Ask some people about that, and that's a nice project. I'm gonna do that at some time. I would like to take part in a few more social things, and prefer to do something actually involving people who I can see, but it doesn't have to be like that. One of the things that should be interesting is a retro challenge. That is retrochallenge.org. It is a 6-monthly event. So the last one was in October 2017, and the one before that was April 2017. I think there's going to be one in 2018, although I didn't see the announcement yet. What the challenge is you get 1 month to make something from scratch involving some kind of retro platform or software or mindset, basically. So you submit your project online, and there's some kind of judging, and you can even win something, but the most important thing is to compete with anything. So that, I think it's a lot of, it should be nice competition. And you don't have to make a complete project from start to finish. You can also implement a phase of an ongoing project. So your result can be, for example, I saw one project that had, one entry that had as a result, assembly listing, or reverse engineered listing or something like that. So you wouldn't actually be making something, but finding something out, making progress. That's the whole idea. So this should be nice. 2 live events that are coming up are the Outline Demo Party. That is outlinedemoparty.net. It is a multi-platform demo party in the Netherlands. I'm not sure when that is in 2018. I'm also not sure if I'm going or not, but it should be fun. So what you basically do is make a demo on some platform and compete using that demo in a competition and try to win a prize. Another demo party in the Netherlands is the X Demo Party, which is held in Zomeren. Takes place 2 to 4 November in 2018, so that's a long way. I think that's Commodore 64 related. I'm not sure it's Amiga. I don't really care about that. Now, I'm not good enough coder to make any serious entry in either of those, but I would like to attend at least one of these parties at some point and come up with some entry. So semi looking for people to make something with me and compete in an event. Not seriously compete, but just join in it, right? So there's that. And that's basically all I did. And what I should do, I didn't do, and that is finish the software for that Commodore 64 cartridge, because it's just laying here, it's doing nothing. So I probably should do that next. So that was all for now. For more information, links and previous episodes, visit podcast.cba.si. Stay tuned, thanks for listening, and goodbye.